But I see it with him. I see how happy he gets. And it's just like that moment of normalcy in his life that he's sitting there with his friends and his aphasia and apraxia, specifically for him, it's a communication disorder. But with that, he understands and he remembers everything. He just can't communicate, can't speak. So, I kind of translate what I understand. And I can see him like remembering stories and smiling, and he's happy and he's laughing at, different silliness that they did back in the day. Welcome to Aging in Style, the podcast dedicated to celebrating aging and what it takes to do it well. I'm Lori Williams. I'm a certified senior advisor and senior housing expert. In each episode, you'll learn stories of older adults who are thriving in their 70s, 80s, 90s, and in some cases in their hundreds. Whether you're an older adult or the child of an older adult, this podcast is filled with insightful resources, organizations that are doing incredible work, and stories that will inspire you to volunteer, learn, and who knows, maybe even skydive in your golden years. Hi, welcome to Aging in Style. Okay. Taking a deep breath because this is an episode I have wanted to do for a while, but I didn't want anyone to feel like I was calling them out, but I kind of am calling them out. And I don't know if they're going to listen to the podcast or not. So I'm just going to go ahead and share it because this is on my heart. And I know if it is something that has affected my family, I'm sure it has affected others. What we're going to talk about is visiting a friend who maybe has dementia or a disability, either caused by a stroke, as in the case of my husband, or in some other way. Somehow they are no longer how they were. In the beginning, everyone checks on you. Everyone wants to know how you're doing. And then it just kind of dwindles. And so my friends have all been there, I have to say. They've been very supportive, but I can't really say the same thing about Mark's friends. They were in the beginning, but they don't check on him now. Nobody reaches out. And it makes me sad for him. I had a birthday party for him in June and made sure everyone came to that. And I don't know. I'm not trying to be rude or anything. I know people have their own lives to live, but I feel like there are reasons why people stop visiting. And I wanted to address that. First, I want to address kind of the elephant in the room here, which is why people stop visiting. And I know this is not an isolated incident for my family. This is just from talking to other people, other caregivers. This is kind of what happens. So I get that it's hard. And some of the reasons are seeing someone that you care about in a vulnerable state. It can be frightening. They may change since the last time you saw them, or they maybe like in Mark's case, we all thought he was going to get better, and he did to some extent, but he's very disabled, especially with his speech and communication. Maybe it makes people anxious or uneasy if you can't communicate, or if someone has dementia, which is a progressive disease, or Parkinson's, or whatever the disease or illness may be. You may feel helpless. Watching someone you love struggle with memory loss or a physical disability, it can make you feel powerless, right? Kind of like you really don't know what to say or how you can help. You might feel guilty that you didn't visit sooner, even though you told them, I'm going to be there for you. I'm going to be visiting. And again, I'm not calling anyone out and I'm not judging anyone. These were things that were said to us. We will be there for you. Don't you worry. We're going to be there to help you and be by your side to sit with Mark if you need to do. And that has not happened. So people may feel guilty that they made these promises early on, and now they're sort of avoiding the visit because they feel kind of awkward about it, which I get. The interactions with their friend could just feel uncomfortable, right? So they may just want to remember how you were. They don't want to see you how you are now. If there's been a stroke or there's dementia and you're progressively getting worse, you can't communicate the way you once did. It may make them feel awkward, and it's just maybe like a relief for them to leave the house, to leave the visit. And so, I get it. These are all valid things. I totally understand people feeling this way. And again, I do want to say I'm not judging anyone or trying to make them feel bad, but it is what it is. And also it could be just like just a real emotional drain on them to visit someone who's disabled or with dementia. It just could be like emotionally taxing, could bring up feelings of grief or sadness or make you worry about, your own health, your own future. What if this is you in 5 years, 10 years or whatever? Then it's a valid concern people have. But what I want to talk about, so those are all the reasons, why friends don't visit their friends who are in these conditions. But why? This is what I want to talk about. Why you need to just do it anyway. Just suck it up and do it. It's not about you. Okay? It's not about you. It's about your friend. It's about your friend's family. The visit is about that connection that your friend needs to get from you. So when Mark's friends visit him, I see him light up. I mean, his face, his eyes, he's so excited when I tell him one of his friends are coming to visit. And the last time was his birthday in June. And I made a big deal about the birthday. We did a big party and I was texting, y'all are coming, right? Just because I knew it would be disappointing to him if his friends didn't show up. But I see it with him. I see how happy he gets. And it's just like that, that moment of normalcy in his life that he's sitting there with his friends and his aphasia and apraxia, specifically for him, it's a communication disorder. But with that, he understands and he remembers everything. He just can't communicate, can't speak. So, I kind of translate what I understand. And I can see him like remembering stories and smiling and he's happy and he's laughing at, different silliness that they did back in the day. But I mean, to remember that this is not about you, that it may be uncomfortable for you to see your friend like this, your presence in their home, your presence in front of them just offers them some comfort, the familiarity. Why can't I say that word? You know the word I'm trying to say. But just something familiar, a sense of, the past and memories and just deeply meaningful, that connection that maybe they can't fully express it, but they feel that, they're seeing their friends or feeling for a minute, just like they were before they became ill, whether it were dementia or stroke or some other disability. And again, with dementia, it is a progressive disease. So there is going to be a point when they don't recognize their friend. But you need to also think about the caregiver, the spouse. If it's the spouse that's the caregiver and you were all friends together, don't forget about her too, especially if dementia has progressed. Another reason why you need to suck it up and go visit your friend, just to combat that isolation. And many people with dementia or stroke-related disabilities, they experience loneliness and isolation. And your visit could just be that just spot of light and love in their day, something different, just a break in their daily routine. And here you are popping in and you're just like a ray of sunshine to them, even if you're just visiting for 30 minutes. And I see that with Mark because he does not like to leave the house. And it takes a lot, like doctor's appointments, pretty much is the only way I can get him to leave the house. And, he has this therapist who come to see him every day, but we can't even get him to go out to get coffee. He just doesn't want to leave the comfort of the home. To me, everyone's different. To me, I would lose my mind if I was stuck in my house 24/7, but I know that he is very isolated. So in our particular case, people coming to visit is very welcome. And I mean, he loves it when my friends come over, they all go and hug him, talk to him and, just praise him and love on him. And he loves it. I see him light up. And I know it would be even more so if his friends came. You might just this goes with isolation. You just might make their day. I mean, even just the smallest gesture of just sitting with them and sharing memories of crazy things you did or playing, like for him, they'd go play golf or when they play football when they were, teens or whatever, just all those stories that I hear them share. I see him, nodding his head and lighting up. So those things can just brighten their mood and just take them back out of their broken body that they're in now back to a time when they were themselves, and they were whole and able to do, all these all the fun things that they did when they were youthful and before a stroke or dementia or other illness or, accident or whatever changed their lives. If they have dementia, they may not remember everything, but they're going to remember how you made them feel. And if you were someone who they just adored, maybe a childhood friend or whatever, the odds are likely they're going to remember you if they have dementia. It just strengthens your relationship. It helps you maintain your friendship and your relationship, no matter what their cognitive or physical abilities, no matter that they have changed. Even if they do have dementia and can't respond to you, as I said, if they're further advanced in a dementia journey, they may still recognize your voice and just be comforted to have your presence there. And it's not like you have to sit there all day. I mean, if someone is further advanced with dementia, if you just come and visit and you sit for 15 minutes and hold their hand and talk to them, that's all. It's not like asking you to come spend a weekend there. May also help you, gain a perspective, facing the discomfort and awkwardness you may feel in visiting. Could help you personally grow emotionally. I mean, it teaches you empathy and patience and just doing the right thing and showing up for someone that needs you the most, even when it's hard for you. Doing those things that you really don't want to do, but, because it's hard. But then when you get there, those things that you're dreading, and then you go and you're like, oh my gosh, I got so much more out of that. Why was I dreading going? That's kind of what I'm talking about, those kind of things. And then I think lastly, just supporting the caregiver. And I kind of touched on that earlier, but as a spouse, it means a lot to me personally when Mark's friends come to visit, are there with him. It just kind of gives me like a sense of relief. And it feels like I know I'm happy for him because he's getting that moment of where he's not so isolated and he has his friends are there and they're sharing those stories and he's laughing. And I just really appreciate that. I appreciate the support and knowing that they're coming through for him. And again, if any of them listen to this, I don't want them to feel like I'm throwing them under the bus with this. And they were there in the very beginning. His friends were there. And I think I've mentioned this earlier, and I've mentioned this in the book also, that Mark's very best friend, Kevin, he went to every hospital, every rehab that Mark was in. And I have no doubt he would have been a frequent visitor to see Mark. But unfortunately, in October of 2023, Kevin died of a massive heart attack. And that was just, oh my gosh, that was just devastating to Mark, on top of everything else to lose Kevin. But I appreciate, everyone who was there in the beginning, but please, I just want to say, try and be there. Just think about your friend, okay? And try to give it over whatever difficult feeling or awkward feeling it is for you and visit your friend. So get over yourself and visit your friend. That's what I have to say. And I hope it doesn't sound harsh or anything, but just visiting a friend who has dementia or a disability such as a stroke, it may be a challenge for you, as I said, emotionally, but it is an act of love that has immeasurable value for your friend and for your friend's family. And by overcoming that bit of discomfort that you may be feeling, just remember, it's about them. It's not about you. And your presence can bring just such a light to their life in ways that are beyond words. And that's what I want to share with you today. So don't forget your friends, your family members who are struggling with disability, and don't just have them off your radar and feel like it's been too long. I can't go visit now. I feel kind of ashamed that I haven't. Go visit. All right. Thank you so much for listening. And please share this with your friends and family. Share the podcast. And, I appreciate you listening. You can find all of our podcast episodes on the website, which is LoriWilliams-SeniorServices.com. And of course, you can listen to all of our podcasts wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.